I'm Chiron Pur, working at Bugatti Engineering. I'm responsible for the chassis development, and we are here at Bilsterberg testing the Pur Sport on this very nice three-dimensional track to just fine-tune the situation, to fine-tune the car, to get a very good setup for this vehicle. What the major focus from the Pur Sport, the intention to start this development was, of course, to have a more emotional car, which is just more agile feelings for the driver, and on top, of course, a better performance. That means we also want to have a physical improvement of performance, and we want to make a big step this time in comparison to the Chiron, just to focus the range of agility and track. Coming from the Chiron, we have a very wide variety of usability, and we really have certain technical limits. We reached certain technical limits on the Pur Sport where we have to decide, and this was the strategy of having a derivative strategy, and one part of the derivative strategy is handling performance. Handling performance is where we really need to make new tires with higher performance. That means we gain the camber and, of course, the complete compound of the tire. And gaining the camber means we really have to decide by getting more camber, reducing the speed. And we really took the decision to find the best solution in speed, that we really cover a lot of curvy roads and tracks, having the best performance but still a very fast car. And so the decision was, with the gain of the camber, to limit the speed. This was the major reason, let's say, where we started in the development process. And after this, of course, we decided to adapt the new gearbox to the limited speed, to have a functional system which works perfectly together, especially on tracks like here. Okay, talking about the major modifications of the Pur Sport is beginning in the front. So that means we're just starting. On the front, we see those huge air intakes. Those are much bigger than from the Chiron, and we use this from chassis side from three different sides. That means we have the diffuser from underneath, we have this brake venting channel, and of course we have a second channel over here. That means we're using three channels for the brake cooling, which is improved on the Pur Sport, which are going into the wheelhouse, coming to our brake disc, just coming out of the brake disc, and the hot air from the brake is let out of the wheelhouse, supported by this nozzle, kind of a jet, where we have an under pressure area over here. So that means we really improved the wheelhouse venting from this high performance brake, additionally supported by this carbon fiber blades, so they just support the whole wheelhouse venting, and we get better rid of the hot air, especially on tracks like here. We are sitting in front of a new magnesium wheel, so it's a very lightweighted wheel. That means in comparison to Chiron, we save from the whole wheel set 16 kilograms, which is a huge amount of weight. And it's not just the amount of weight, we just save the amount of weight on the right spot, because this is the unsprung mass, which is just moving a lot on roads and tracks. So reducing the weight here just gives our dampers a much easier life, our 100% controlled dampers. So they really have an easier life. What can you feel with this weight reduction is, if the dampers have an easier life, it just feels not just more performant, you also gain a small amount of comfort, which is very good. Talking about weight reduction, we also have a new inner part of the brake disc, the brake bell, which is now made of a special material from aluminum. We also save an amount of 1 kilogram over here. And we just, to get more reduction of weight, even added the brake pad and the back plates of the brake pads. And we just modified this from steel to titanium to save even more weight. So, and all these modifications, from brake disc, the brake bell, the titanium backplate and magnesium wheel is all unsprung mass. That means we really, from performance side, and this was the intention for the Pure Sport, was from performance side to reduce the weight on the right spot. To support this wheelhouse venting, there was also invented one new air outtake, what you can see here, kind of an additional channel where we get rid of more hot air that all plays into the mount of performance, just to get rid of the hot air from the brakes. If we just follow the car, then of course we come to the rear axle. We see also this magnesium wheel. We have the new dimension of the tire, which is the same like the Chiron, it's 355. Also the Pilot Sport Cup 2R, of course. And now it's a good time to talk about the suspension, because we have, of course, springs, dampers, stabilizers, and all is modified big time. That means we increased the spring rates for the Pure Sport in the front, about 66% stiffer, which is a huge amount, and in the rear 33%, which is also a huge amount. And the idea and the testing time we spent was to get the best package from spring rate, stiffness from the spring rate, and traction. That means we were testing not only just getting a little stiffer, we were just testing a lot of stiff springs, and probably we went also over the top to get the optimum spring rate for traction. Underneath we have carbon fiber stabilizers. They were also adjusted. That means we have the same spring rate, of course, from the stabilizer on the rear, but a complete new spring rate from the stabilizer bar in front. Those carbon fiber stabilizers again save weight, about 2.1 kilo. And of course, you have to have this mechanical base from spring rate, stabilizer, and rubber bushings and connection from the top mounts to have this performance package. One last mechanical point which is important is we changed the stiffness from the top mount. That means the connection from the tire to the steering wheel, which shows just much more reactive behavior. The top mount, we increased the stiffness. It's just 2.5 times more the Chiron. That means it's completely different part. And this is the philosophy of the Pure Sport. That means making this complete chassis stiffer and lightweighted on the right spots, and on the connection to the body. This is where you can feel the reactive behavior of the Pure Sport in comparison to the Chiron, that it's really more curvy oriented, more track oriented, and gives you a direct connection to the road, which makes you feel safe and feel fast. The new Sports Plus mode is, the intention was to give the driver more freedom. That means we open up the border of the traction control together with the new tire to get this transition from grip to slide, that the driver can really play to have more drifting time in the car, and can decide what is the driving style. If it's more spectacular or more lap time oriented, the car will do both, and especially open up to the section of drifting. So that means really having a lot of more power in higher speeds at sharp turns. This is what you can feel, and that car feels much faster. We limit the speed to 350, and of course if you just compare Chiron running at 350, you have a very low rev in the 7th gear. So we just decided to make even this big step to change the complete inner life of the gearbox and make the new transmission, the transmission of the gearbox fitting to the new range of speed. That means now we have again 7 speed, but now in the range of speed from 0 to 350 instead of 420. And this means also for track performance, you really have closer gears. That means you have the perfect gear in every turn, and it doesn't matter in which turning circle you get, it's always the best gear. That's perfect. Driving the Pure Sport is really having a car which accelerates like a rocket. Not only on the straights, you can really use the full range of power, the torque and the horsepower, 1500 horsepower, to accelerate out of every turn, and then you also can on top decide if you want to go for drifting or not. This is an incredible feeling. I cannot remember any other car where you can do it in this extreme feeling, with this acceleration at very high speeds, still feeling safe. This is amazing. Really had in the beginning a vision how the car should be, also from differentiation to the Chiron. And what we can see right now is that this all came true. That means we really have a car who is different to the Chiron, but still recognizable as a Chiron, but just more connected for this type of driving. And I'm really happy with this car. So this is perfect. For me, it's the perfect car. So we have a fully controllable all-wheel drive from a diff lock and a Haldex coupling. And how we manage to use this power for agility, not just for straight line performance. You can use the power for agility, and that means the acceleration, like I mentioned, it feels like a rocket, but you can do it in a turn. This is the most amazing part, and so I was, for the first time at the Chiron, overwhelmed and was really lucky that we can do it. We can use the full power even inside the turn, but at the Pure Sport it comes to perfection. So that is outstanding. That's outstanding.